Welcome to Relish Lifestyle. Amazingly, it's episode 11 of our podcast, and it's finally feeling very spring-like. We've got sun, and yeah, it's just lovely to have the warmth in the sun.
I know. You think for the last however many months, Charlie, we've been sitting together in the dark with our cups of tea or whatever.
Now we've got some. Well, the clocks have changed, haven't they? Which helps.
And now we've got the blinds down because the sun is so strong.
Don't complain.
No, I'm not complaining. It's brilliant.
But
delightful.
We've actually done quite a lot since we last.
Yes, well, you've been to Manchester.
Up now.
Home of the Eccles cake and pasty barn, which you haven't had any.
I didn't have any of those. But I did have some absolutely delicious dinners and lunches. So
where did you go then?
So I went out with my best friend Edward King Ceramics, and we went up to so first lunch was El Gato Negro, which is Spanish tapas. And I managed to get us a table at the kitchen, what do they call it? Chef's table or something, which is basically the bar, and then you have
you can see the kitchen. So nice.
Watch them. And obviously we've said it before, but it's always amazing how little space they have to do.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And the speed, especially the things like the croquettes, how quickly they're being churned out. They're all freshly made, but this, constantly being put into the deep fat fryer and, amazing. Anyway, that was delicious, really good. And actually also has a Michelin recommendation as well. So that's kind of how I found that one. And then from a recommendation, we went to a new-ish place called Atomica, and again there was a bit of a theme occurring, but it was more tapas, but it was all like modern, a bit more kind of not necessarily as traditional tapas. So some of the flavors were quite different. So we had like chalk stream salmon, but it had like blood orange juice, and it was just a bit different. So it wasn't what I would call Spanish tapas. I'd say it was like modern European tapas, if we can give it that.
So sorry, did you say chalk stream salmon, or do you mean trout?
No, I'm sure it was chalk stream salmon.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So it was absolutely delicious. I'm not being antisocial. I'm on my phone trying to look at the photos.
No, but I was just going to say to you, you said it was like, oh yeah, no, lovely. You said about the small plate things, the tapas things, but I think that's becoming more popular generally because people like the idea of having different flavours, I think, and bite size rather than necessarily big plates of food.
And what was quite nice is we even had like oysters with like a shallot vinaigrette.
Yum.
But we could just have like two. So Ed could have one and I could have one. So you're not then having to order like a big platter of them, or if you're not, if some people may not have had an oyster or whatever and just want to try it.
Yeah.
I do think tapas is a really nice way of trying food. Mm-hmm. Also, you avoid the food envy element, which we've all had.
Sharing it, yeah.
Well, no, because when your other diner's plate arrives and you go, oh no, should
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I want that.
Yeah. So no, I think it is becoming more popular. So yeah, Atomica and El Gato Negro were the two places we went for food. And I have to say it was all absolutely delicious and the service was really good as well. And then randomly we ended up in this bar called Schofield's, because obviously we've got into our martinis. I think we talked about that on our last podcast.
We did, yes.
And they did a very good martini, but it was also dark and speakeasy, and it was very cool.
Yeah.
So no, I had a brilliant trip up there.
And you did some cultural things.
We did. We went to the Whitworth Gallery and we saw the Turner exhibition and feminism in art as well. I think from the 60s to the 90s. That was really interesting. And we went down to Salford Quays, and obviously it's incredible what they've there for Media City UK.
Yeah.
So no, it was a really good trip, and I haven't been there since pre-COVID.
Yeah. And so it had a good buzz about it, you said.
It just feels young and vibrant.
Yeah, nice.
Which was really nice. So yeah, it was, other than the M6, it was a really good trip. Which we should point out to any of our overseas listeners, because we do have some. I've been looking at where people have been listening.
Oh, yeah?
The M6 is the longest motorway in Britain. It runs from sort of the Midlands, so it's just south of a place called Birmingham, all the way up to the Scottish border.
Yeah.
Where it becomes the A9 for some unknown reason, but that's the M6. But it's traffic can be a bit heavy.
Yeah.
But we've also been out and about for Mother's Day.
Oh, yes. We had
Mothering weekend.
I was very lucky. You treated, darling, thank you so much, for a whole weekend of gorgeousness and fun. And we had a little trip on the Saturday, didn't we?
Yeah, and what was our first stop? The Christie theme.
Oh, yes. What was it called? Nether Wallop.
Yeah.
So Charlie, for anyone who doesn't know, he's a great Agatha Christie fan. Well, I suppose we both are, but Charlie particularly is, aren't you? And we thought we'd go to, or Charlie chose that we go to this village where they filmed some of the Miss Marples. And
the original Joan Hickson ones.
Yeah, even the name, Nether Wallop, I mean, honest to goodness, it's just idyllic. And we drove down to this tiny little village in Hampshire. And there was more... We saw more thatched roofs than I think I've counted in my whole life. We just did it. And actually, we thought there might be more people there, but there weren't. But that literally did have a chalk stream running through it, didn't it? And everything. It was stunning.
And I have to say, that for me was like one of those moments where you realise how important, I don't want to get all heavy, but the
environment. Yeah.
Well, just with the pollution and things, but these chalk streams were crystal clear. They were obviously thriving. It was all green. Do you remember how clear it was, and the greenery and the algae or whatever? And I don't know, it just sort of really resonated with me. And apparently, and again, I've stolen this from Dave Attenborough, but I think it's between 70 and 80% of all the world's chalk streams are actually in southern England. So it's kind of a very important habitat. But lovely to see.
Oh, we were so lucky as well because it was a beautiful sunny day. It was when we got there. And I said there was no one there. And we literally just parked up and walked around this village. And apart from a few things, you could have easily stepped back. Well, I don't know, like to the 1920s or something.
Well,
or beyond.
Miss Marple was sort of the 40s into the 50s.
I know, but those cottages were there before that. I mean,
I know,
some of the history we were reading, it dates back. I mean, I think the church...
Was it the Doomsday Book?
Yeah, the church dated back to about 11 something. But they've had things going on around there.
It was an Anglo-Saxon church.
Yeah, and then they had like that tithe barn that had been some sort of...
was it a school?
Well, it wasn't, but yes, it was a school, like, goodness knows how many hundreds of years ago. And I mean, it was just, anyway, it was idyllic. So it was stepping back into one of Agatha's chapters.
Also,
we might bump into
Miss Marple cycling up the road with her. But the thing for me is we were talking about this on the way, I think, but like to research that, you know, how many... Because obviously it was the 80s when these were originally filmed, the Joan Hickson ones. So someone would have had to have, you know, it was before Google Maps.
Who would
have had to have visited and gone, right, this is Nether Wallop is where we're going to film all the sort of external shots of her cottage.
But we were saying then that location researchers of the time, it would have all just been hand catalogued.
And actual physical photos. We could go off with a Polaroid camera and things like that would do.
I know. Anyway, that was lovely. And then we moved from there into Wiltshire and we went to Devizes and we stopped off at a place called the Piggery.
Yeah.
Just outside of Devizes.
That was just a random
and was
farm shop, wasn't it?
And it was oh God, what were they called? Not the Cannons. What was the places that it said you can go to all Cannons or all...
Oh, goodness, yeah, I forgot. That was like it said all Wallops, didn't it?
Yeah, I know the signs.
All Wallops.
Yeah, so anyway, so we went to this little piggery, which was so sweet. So at a working farm, and you literally just pulled off the road, and then there was this little tiny shop with a little bakery and a little counter. You could get a great cup of coffee, you could buy some lovely local flour and a few local yummies. And we just stopped there and sat in the courtyard surrounded by sheep and pigs. I mean, it didn't smell of food. It did smell of pigs and sheep.
But, sorry, because I saved it in a Mother's Day Google Map folder. So it was, the Piggery Farm Shop, but it was Bishop's Cannings. So I think
Cannings.
It was all the Cannings or other Cannings.
Yeah, it said all the Cannings. And I thought, what's the Cannings? And we were at Bishop's Cannings.
Yeah. Bishop's
anyway.
Cannings.
So thank you, the Piggery. That was very lovely. Yeah. And then we went on to see Cane Locks. So that was quite extraordinary, wasn't it?
No, it was. And it was just one of these places that I think I'd seen on sort of some random television program or it'd come up somewhere. And I just thought actually it'd be really interesting to just go and see it. And I don't know, there's something about canals. I don't know, it's quite peaceful.
I know, but it's extraordinary because if you park at the bottom and you look up, there was something like, was it 29?
Yeah, so
29
I just had that
locks.
Information ready to go. That's what I was doing. So it's 29 locks and it takes the River Avon to the River Kennet.
Right.
Over the sort of I don't know, part of the Wessex Down, I guess.
Yeah, which was called Wessex, of course, area.
But do you remember that woman we bumped into? She said it took 5 to 6 hours.
Oh, yeah, so it was really great,
44 locks in total.
Because we didn't think that we'd actually see any barges going up and down. And there were 3. I think there was one going up and 2 going down.
I'd never seen 2 share the same bit in one direction.
Yeah, but it takes that long to do those 29 locks.
That's a whole day.
I mean, just extraordinary. But it was fantastic to see. And it's a real... Oh my gosh, I was thinking every school child needs to go there because that whole industrial revolution, and then you start thinking about canals were obviously pre-railway, all that kind of thing. But how long they took, but they did actually, what would you call, develop them and build them in quite a short space of time, bearing in mind they didn't have machines to do it.
There would have been people.
And the whole feat, and they literally are stepped up, aren't they? I mean, it's just incredible.
I mean, it's a feat of engineering.
Yeah, it is.
And it's totally. It is, the canals is what's kickstarted us having an industrial revolution. And then amazingly, then obviously we invented trains as well. So that's why I think they called it the golden century or something. I might be wrong, might not be golden century, but it was like where Britain just had like 100 years of uninterrupted growth, because it was like you had the canals, which suddenly gave you could haul, narrowboats with coal suddenly, not little carts.
Well, as you said, it was about the scale. You could increase the scale of stuff that we were
everything else had been
around.
a cottage industry until you could have factories. So it was a lovely day, and we were very lucky with the weather.
We were. And then, of course, with Sunday, which was lovely. So
I did nothing. Sat on my paws.
He didn't. He turned up with bags of goodies and ingredients. And then also, which if you've been watching, we did take some video.
Yeah.
So Charlie also made an amazing babka. Thank you. I was going to call it. It's more like a bread, really.
What it is.
It's enriched dough, but he made it in the shape of a bunt cake, because if you listen to us, you know that Charlie is into making cakes in the shape of a bunt tin. So we did that, which was absolutely extraordinary. It was enough to feed possibly all of our listeners, but absolutely glorioso. And then you cooked that rather delicious.
So I think this might bring me on, we were going to say the section.
Yeah.
But I've been on a certain online channel, on whatever it's called.
Well, I think we can say we're not. It was
obviously a BBC programme. It was a Rick Stein BBC, but it's currently on You, which I found on my Amazon Fire Stick. But I'm dropping everyone's name in now. Anyway, there's one called Venice to Istanbul he does, which I think I do quite like it though, because I do think it's probably just a lovely long holiday. Yeah, really. But he obviously starts in Venice, and then crosses over he goes down a bit of Italy and then crosses over, I think it's the Sea of Tyrrhenia, but I could be wrong.
That sounds something like out of Agatha Christie.
I think there is an element of that. And then goes into Croatia, Albania, down into Greece, and then across to Turkey. Ooh. Anyway, I was watching it, and then I just got some inspo, and then and I would recommend this to anyone, especially in the era we're in, of reuse, recycle, whatever. So, cookbooks, we know they can be expensive, and you might sometimes, if you want the latest one, you do have to pay the price that it is. But I have been going on eBay, because obviously this has been out for a few years, this programme.
Yeah.
Anyway, this book, it says here, sticker on the front, £25. I think I paid $3.99.
Yeah.
And it's just...
Well, you've got me on looking at eBay and places like that.
Because actually, there's nothing wrong with it. People have still been paid the amount they should have been paid. But this, I don't know, it just feels a bit more kind of full circle, should we say. Anyway, in this book, there's some brilliant recipes, some lovely photography. I have to say all his books seem to have great photography, so whoever's doing it, it looks great. But he does, so obviously the original inspiration, because we went to Greece together in October.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of build on that theme. So we did one called Cousina Chicken, which is sort of a recipe from near Thessaloniki, where we were in October. And that's, chicken thighs that you poach in saffron.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Which I haven't really used much saffron.
No, because my question is with saffron, and I know, oh God, there's going to be purists out there, but, sometimes you cook with saffron and I'm like, can you really taste it? Because obviously it's very expensive, but it does give it a lovely colour And, you know, maybe it does add to the flavour. I mean, chicken particularly.
Yeah.
But so there was the poaching of the chicken, and then you added pimento, didn't you?
Yeah, so then you add sort of paprika.
Oh, paprika.
But yeah, but it's...
But it wasn't hot. No. You know, it wasn't, you know, like...
and red onion.
Yeah, lots of red onion.
And then you add the poaching liquor to make your, like, base for this.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So then that all went in the oven. And then I did beans with greens. Again, that recipe comes from this book, but it was he used gigantes beans, which is like dried big beans, which are quite difficult to get.
We didn't. We cheated. Everyone can. We just used. We didn't actually have butter beans, so we had cannellini beans.
But the premise, and we used some of your homegrown.
So I picked. That's so great. I'm going to have to grow some more.
Yeah, it's yummy too.
The Carvalho Nero, honest to God, you grow it in the autumn. Or late summer, autumn, and it gets obviously decimated if you're not careful by butterflies, caterpillars. But if you manage to protect it enough, you get into the winter and it comes into its own. So we've been picking it all winter, and then I got to the end of the plants because they get very leggy, but beautiful new green leaves. So I just picked all the leaves and bagged it, and we had that, didn't we?
Yeah, it was delicious.
No, listen.
And we just had some roast potatoes with it.
Yeah.
Which we did laugh because we said if we were in Greece, we would have had rice and this
bread.
But I didn't do 5 different types of carb. We just had one.
Yeah. No, it was utterly delicious. So I was very, very spoiled. There was some great recipes there.
No, it was. But no, it was good fun.
But we were just going to talk a bit about that Venice thing, because that whole thing, Venice to Istanbul, but also just because I went to Venice a few years ago. Charlie hasn't been.
No, I haven't.
I had just the most amazing trip.
You went with your best friend?
With my bestie, yeah. And we got there just as they were coming out of lockdown, so we were incredibly lucky. There were very few tourists, and the sun shone. So it was just just a fantastic time. We really did. But we were just talking about some of the food. Now we ate the food was delicious. A lot of shellfish, seafood.
Yeah.
And we did sort of mix it up a bit. But interestingly, when I was sort of looking up sort of traditional food from Venice, there are a few that came up, and I don't particularly remember having these, but one is the bigoli, and I do apologise if I'm not pronounce that properly, which is with and I have a very other dear friend who's probably, if she listens to this, she will pronounce it beautifully.
Yeah.
And that's like their fat spaghetti, so that's their type of pasta.
When you say fat spaghetti,
thicker.
So like,
it's like spaghetti.
Oh, as in it's actually thicker. As in like
yeah. So I mean, it's like linguine is flat. It's like spaghetti, and then they go up in different gauges.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then apparently one random one, which I know we definitely didn't eat, is called risi e bisi, which is basically rice and peas.
Another good Italian.
my Charlie always thinks it's hysterical. And then this is one that you were going to share a recipe of, and you can pronounce those then.
Cicchetti.
Cicchetti.
So they're like, so for talking about like Manchester and having sort of tapas style food.
Yeah.
This is their tapas. It's like Italian tapas. And they vary from little bits of, anchovy on a bit of toast to, bits of meat and stuff like that. But the one, funny enough, in this same book, he does a scallops and broad bean one.
We're going to try that.
Yeah, which sounds really lovely. I just want to make sure we've got, good season on both the scallops and the broad beans. So we'll check that out because it's important. But it looks delicious and it sounds delicious. And what a nice way to sort of start off a meal. Couple of scallops and some broad beans.
Yeah, I know. Well, actually, I was just looking because we thought we'd just talk a bit about seasonal food. So I looked up seasonal food because as we're coming into April, and obviously we've got things like forced or new asparagus is coming through. You get forced rhubarb.
Yeah,
lamb. Everyone knows because we're going to be with Easter around the corner. Some new potatoes, but it says crab. And interestingly enough, Charlie and I thought we could try this. I've never really cooked with morel mushrooms.
No.
And I just thought we should do something.
We're going to try and get. I don't know where
Yeah, you can
source them.
We should be able to get them.
Because in France, they eat a lot of them.
Yeah, but I bet we can get them from a specialist farm shop or something. But anyway, I just thought we'd try that and then we can chat about that because we do like mushrooms and they would be lovely. And of course, the big thing, which I absolutely adore, is watercress. And Hampshire, and you get the watercress beds.
Yeah.
So you can get a lot of really gorgeous fresh watercress.
No, lovely.
But we also thought, just randomly as we do, we might talk a little bit about cheese, because I really like your story about Charles de Gaulle.
How do you govern a country with 246 types of cheese? I'm slightly paraphrasing it, but I think that's the quote you meant, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Isn't that fantastic?
But interestingly enough, I've actually done a bit on this, because I think we have talked about this quote before, but actually it's out of date, obviously, because Charles de Gaulle was many, many years ago. But I did a bit of research into UK cheeses, artisan cheeses this is, and apparently we produce 1,000 different artisan cheeses.
Wow.
Okay. And actually France, our French neighbours, do about 550.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a lot, isn't it?
We've leapfrogged them in terms of different types of cheese, or different artisan cheeses, I should say. But the British taste, there's actually two things I read randomly.
Yeah, go on.
Not doing research, particularly for this, but just it came up. So obviously British, we know cheddar is like the cheese everyone eats.
Yeah.
But apparently tastes are changing. So it used to be just, that sort of typical, very mild cheddar that people use in sandwiches.
Oh, yeah,
tasted
yeah,
not very much at all.
No.
But apparently in the last sort of 5-10 years, there's been a massive shift to more mature as our tastes have changed, I guess. So suddenly seeing like the old mild cheddar has dropped off sales-wise, and actually mature and extra matures have sort of done really well in terms of sales.
It's an odd thing, Charlie, because I would almost want to say I don't even see the point of mild cheddar.
No.
Because if you're going to eat cheese, don't you want to taste cheese?
But I think,
so why do you want mild cheese? Wouldn't you just use less normal cheddar or strong cheddar or whatever?
I think it's...
Do you think it's a marketing ploy?
I don't know. But talk about taste. The next best-selling cheese in Britain after cheddar is mozzarella.
No. Is that because everyone puts it on pizza? That's why.
But I also think because you can now buy a kind of cheddar and mozzarella.
But for me, there's no point in having mozzarella again unless you have great mozzarella.
Well, I think that the only thing I would caveat is what you're doing with it.
Because if you just eat the beautiful, you can just rip it, put it on things. But actually, even mozzarella on pizza, that's kind of don't you want to sort of taste it a bit or have really good stuff?
I think there's an element of this where I think it depends what you're doing with it. I would agree. You should get the best mozzarella you can afford or whatever, find. But I do think sometimes there's, it's a bit like if there's other very strong flavours going on your pizza, you aren't going to taste burrata particularly. But I think cheese is, there's a lot. Sure.
But can we just go back to the sales? That just goes to show it's slightly skewed because mozzarella is used on pizza. That's why it tops cheddar. But cheddar obviously is something that you cook with, but equally you can have a good cheddar is on your cheese board, isn't it?
Yeah. But cheddar, I think, probably outsells it. I don't know.
I mean, I would have thought Parmesan must be quite high up because that gets put into lots of things.
Hold the line. I can try and
hold the line, listeners. He's having a Google. We always have said though, because as you know, Charlie, you go to Portugal a lot. We've always been to Portugal a lot, but it's interesting because we've always found they're not really that big on cheese. You can get cheese there. But when I had a look, I mean, they do quite a few cheeses.
But it's further north, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is more north. And they're not crumbly cheeses.
No.
But, yeah, they have things like thistle, though. But they do use them from, grazing sheep that they just, as you and I know, just got so much agricultural land, just nibbling on anything. So I thought next time we go, we should maybe search out a few more artisanal cheeses from the Portuguese area. But you've got a few
I've had some lovely
French
cheese.
ones.
French ones.
Favourites you've got.
There's Aubuchon, which is I don't know I think there was a photo we've done before, but it's a soft cheese from kind of the du Sèvres area of France region, and it's a soft cheese, a bit like a brie on the outside or camembert, but it's got a cork in the middle.
Oh yeah,
and it's called au bouchon. And then there was one when I stayed near Neufchâtel-en-Bray in northern France, and it's called Coeur de Neufchâtel, which obviously means heart of Neufchâtel, and it's heart shaped, but you get various different sort of flavors.
And what is that? It's not a crumbly cheese.
No, it's a soft cheese again.
Yeah,
but it's one of those cheeses that the shape seems to signify the name, but actually it probably could be made with goats, cows. It could have black pepper crushed on it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, it seems to just be that the flavours changed, but the name was still Coeur de Neufchâtel.
Now, Charlie, I'm going to ask you a question, test you here. Comte, and we like Comte. You can pretty much buy it in supermarkets. It's one of France's most beloved or bought cheeses.
Yeah.
Right? Interestingly enough. But I wondered if you actually knew what area of France it came from.
Because it's harder, I'm thinking it will be kind of more Alps way.
Right.
But I could be very wrong. I don't know.
It's the Jura.
So that's towards...
The Jura Massif.
Yeah, that's towards...
Yeah, it is,
Yeah. I think it's because they do that.
Anyway, I just thought that was really interesting.
That is interesting. No, I mean, we've also tried... What was the cheese you tried the other night? You put it on something. You said it was like...
Oh, right. Well, this is not French cheese at all. It's just going back to our Greek thing. But I occasionally buy feta. And as Charlie's just said, like, I guess a lot of, if you're cooking with cheese, you kind of you're not going to pay top dollar for it necessarily.
No.
But I'm going to give a shout out to Waitrose, and it was Waitrose #1. And I bought their aged feta.
Nice.
And it is nice because it comes in a proper tub with a lid for a start. Okay.
Yeah.
But I am going to give it a shout out because when I tasted it, it was really creamy, had that saltiness, had that great crumbliness you want from a feta. Yeah. And it was, a little bit more money, but I actually really enjoyed that because so often if I've bought a feta and I've used it just to crumble in something, the rest of it I put in the fridge, and because, as you've said, I've used it to cook with, which kind of add the salty bit, but I never eat it or want to eat it as a cheese on its own.
No.
But that one I would. Anyway, I just wanted to give a shout out for that because that is available everywhere.
I think also for me, feta, like you just said, because it's salty, it's a good way of sort of adding seasoning without having seasoning. But...
Or having a little bit of cheese without eating too much cheese.
Yeah.
And I would like to own up, Charlie, I used up the leftovers of the cannellini bee and Carvello Nero. Yeah, and when I reheated it, I sprinkled in a tiny bit of that feta.
Oh yeah,
and it was really nice.
Well,
Anyway, that's my little tip for.
I'm just trying to find this list, but basically, it looks like, funny enough, it's cheddar.
Oh yeah,
actually, it's not mozzarella according to this list. It's red Leicester.
Oh yeah, you love red Leicester.
And then mozzarella. Then halloumi, then brie.
Halloumi's nice. Off, isn't it? Oh, brie. Well, you can buy all those so
then
easily,
Parmesan,
I guess.
So I think, is that the top 5?
Right.
So top 6. So yeah, that kind of ticks them all off, but it's just quite interesting.
But I think a lot of those is because you cook with them.
Yeah, but also...
Interesting, the ones you'd have on a cheese board aren't there, particularly.
No, Stilton is like number 7, but I get that skewed probably at Christmas.
Because I think that people stir it into soups, which I've never quite understood because this is only me, this is subjective, but I do a cheese in a soup. I get it grated on a crouton on French onion soup. But if you've taken beautiful courgettes or beautiful broccoli, which are very delicate taste, and then you put Stilton in it, I'm like, well...
But can I just say, that goes back to what we were saying just now about the mozzarella. What's the point in buying a nice Stilton
true.
and then just putting it into a soup?
No.
But that is, can I just say, that's just our humble opinion.
That is our humble opinion. Our humbly opinion.
You can come and rant at us.
Well, we'd like any comments.
Yeah.
Give us your feedback. Disagree with us.
Don't be too rude.
Don't be horrible to it.
But yes, I think that's good. So do you know what you're having for dinner then? Have you still got leftovers, or are you?
No, I've finished off the leftovers.
Do you say you finished all the feta, or do you might have that?
No, I've used it. No, because it actually was because it came in the tub. It was really great. You could put the lid back on, and actually, cheese lasts quite a long time if you look after it.
Can I just say that it's just something I do want to rant about actually quickly.
Go on then.
And I know we've got to get rid of plastic, and I get that, or at least stop using as much, or use not virgin plastic.
Yeah.
But have you noticed how some hummus, like we tasted the other week, and other pots of things, they've taken the lid away. So when you peel the cellophane,
oh yes,
if that tears or comes off, you've then got to make a lid. So I've been using foil. But then I'm not sure if that's counterproductive, because I feel like then I'm just using foil.
Yeah, or I'd use cling film. I've bought like a set of these, and they are plastic or silicone.
I know.
These silicone lids, but then they don't always fit the shape.
No, so I just wanted to moan about that. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
I have to say, I did try that wax paper, because I think cheese, when you buy it from
yeah, but cheese is okay.
If you buy it from a proper cheese supplier or in a farm shop, you get it lovely greaseproof paper. And that's really what we should do, is take it out of plastic.
Well, actually, you shouldn't really keep cheese in.
Well, you should wrap it. I wrap it in a little bit of baking parchment.
Yeah, because the moisture that cling film will actually shorten the life of the cheese.
It does.
That's a top tip.
I quite often take my cheese completely out of that and then wrap it in, as I said, greaseproof or baking parchment.
I think I'm going to have piri chicken.
You're having oh, right, okay.
Well, I bought a whole chicken. Well, because it's just quite good, because if I do a chicken, it then lasts me for like
I know. I think in the week
days.
it's quite good like that.
And they're not, there's lots of offers out there on whole chicken, so I'll be doing that, I think, for supper.
Okay, well, I think I'm going to have something simple, but I wanted to talk about something that I did do for supper. And it was great. I just really fancied a little bit of lamb. Lamb is pretty expensive, but also you don't always want loads of it. You just want a little bit. Well. So I managed, and sometimes I'd buy a little bit of lamb neck fillet, which actually is the cheapest way, but you can really cook it off very quickly. But I bought a little bit of shoulder. It was small, but I actually want to give a shout out, because I love this book as well. That's Dishoom. And I took their recipe. It's called lamb boti kabab. That's Kabab.
Oh yeah.
And they have a wonderful marinade, which this is for a lot more lamb, and you would normally marinate it overnight. Okay.
Adjust it.
But that was delicious. So that was just your yogurt, garlic, the usual stuff, the digging merch, lime juice, garam masala. I had caraway seeds in it.
I love caraway seeds.
Yeah. And it had cumin. I actually put some cumin seeds as well as a bit of cumin.
Cumin's lovely with lamb. Cuts through the fat.
Now, they use something called a papaya paste. Well, I don't have papaya paste, right? No. Okay. So I use, some of that amber paste or sauce that you can get.
Oh, yeah.
Which is mangoes. And you can buy it now, like it's another slightly spicy. But anyway, I had some. And I thought, well, obviously there's a bit of fruitiness, but I think you could use anything, to be honest, with lamb. You could use a fruit. You could use even raisins, or you use prunes the other day with chicken.
Oh, I forgot to say that.
Oh yeah, but prunes was a big thing. It was delicious, actually. Anyway, so that was just a tip. I only marinated it for about an hour, and then I literally just fried it off and a little bit of rice or just some green.
That sounds delicious.
Anyway, that was delicious.
Yeah.
So high five, another marinade.
Should have said that about the cocina chicken. It has prunes in it.
Well, that was one of the main. We forgot that.
I know.
You forgot that, Charlie. But it was delicious, yeah.
Yeah.
Prunes. And you said, Charlie, that you thought that was the first time you'd cooked a savoury dish with prunes, wasn't it?
Well, it doesn't feel like, other than like prunes and armagnac, I'm not really sure what I would have done with prunes. So to add them, and what I quite liked about them is it wasn't like you ate it and you thought, they're really sweet parts of it.
No.
It was actually quite clever. So I really enjoyed that.
No, I have cooked in the past different things with prunes. I think there's a lamb and prune dish I've done before as well, which is quite nice.
But I can see why that would work, just the combo.
And prunes are used a lot in, I think it's the Middle East cookery. And, and also in medieval times when I was studying that, a lot of recipes, because you had to use certain things. And randomly they would have things like that.
But also probably from a preserve point of view.
Yeah. They were easier to use, all those kind of things, dates, prunes, than trying to use flowers and stuff, because they were off. They all had weevils in them in medieval times.
And
you didn't want to.
I guess quite healthy.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's good.
So
that concludes. I think. I know.
We're going to make a cup of tea, I think.
Yeah.
So think about the next one.
Thank you very much for listening. As always, do follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Relish Lifestyle, and you can see some videos we put up over the weekend of the Mothering Sunday feast that I did. We are also, obviously, this podcast is on all the platforms, I think, but I think Spotify and Apple seem to be the two most popular.
Yeah.
So find us on there.
And do follow us, and we'd love you to subscribe as well.
Yeah, and leave reviews.
Or
whatever you need to do.
And I was thinking it'd be lovely if people shared.
Yeah.
You know, if you pass it on to other people. People quite often ask us, so you do a podcast? And send us the link. So for our avid listeners, it would be wonderful if you could share it.
Yeah. But so that.
And leave us a review.
So that's us. But yeah, have a great week. Keep relishing life.
Yeah. Keep relishing life. Yes, we've always said that together.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.